if they care, recognizes that and realizes that me saying this is just pushing them further down the hill. And maybe this isn't the right time for that level of truth at the moment. I have said it, so it'll never be said, I guess, at the end of the day that I didn't care or didn't try to.
Or maybe your truth is the catalyst of the problem. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Deep MCs, the podcast that seeks to push meaningful conversation to a whole new level. Whether it's for your entertainment or your personal growth, we appreciate you being here today. And now, on to the show. What's going on, man?
What's good, bro?
I'm terrified. I'm terrified right now. Look, I fucked up. I fucked up.
It wasn't big, man.
No, it is though. Look, see. I feel like
we're already going into the show. We'll tell you what it is in a second.
What are we getting into today?
Where people tell you what you want to hear as opposed to what you need to hear.
Yeah, see, you should have just said you fucked up.
But I don't think you did.
God damn, you fucked up. No, I feel I did. That's gonna bother me the entirety.
Man, come on, snap out of that, man. We didn't lose nothing.
Yeah. Well, I lost some of my dignity.
Oh man, come on.
Right there. Lost it's gone. Yes. This is a very good topic for a lot of people, just for the simple fact that, why do you think that we don't tell people what they need to hear?
Man, I honestly don't think we feel like people are strong enough to accept the truth.
I don't think they are. Especially nowadays.
You don't think people are strong enough to accept the truth?
No, especially nowadays.
I think sometimes I may even agree with you, which is rare on the show. But I may agree with you that sometimes we just want to hear a lie if that's going to make us feel better.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, they say the truth hurts, but it has to be told.
Does it always hurt though? Or is that what we've created in our minds, that the truth has to hurt?
Excuse me. I think. Well, I guess we have to see what is truth really.
Yeah.
That's the main question: is what is truth? And everybody's perception of what truth is, I think, is on a sliding scale, right? Because it's kind of like saying what is a lie, right? Like, if someone asks you something and you know the full story and you only give them a piece of it, did you lie to them? No, because they didn't ask me blah, 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 blah. Right. But you knew that there was more and you didn't tell them, right? Yeah. Is that a lie? Some people would say yes. Some people would say no. Right. What is truth? Is truth putting every single thing out there? Or is there a point where truth becomes a bit of a perception, right? Because your truth and my truth could be a little different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it comes down to people's perceptions. They say, oh, well, tell me if I'm doing something wrong. Well, if someone doesn't believe you're doing something wrong, they're not lying to you. They don't believe that you're doing something wrong.
I mean, just at the beginning of the show, right? You just said, I screwed up. And I'm like, no, you didn't. But it was based on perception, right?
Well,
because you and I, sir, have had some screw ups, right? Personal, private, extended screw ups. Yeah. So this little button push is far from a screw up compared to what I've seen in my own life.
When I'm on the edge, that's all it takes. Just a little
one button push, huh?
One button push away from complete disaster, right? That's the nuclear button. Boom. Complete disaster. You're right. I mean, I still feel it's a fuck up, right?
Right, I got you.
But it doesn't change, right? It's perception.
That's still, because you're going to err on the side of that generally.
Yes.
Most times. Right. You're going to start there and work backwards, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to start here and work backwards. So, I mean,
and we meet in the middle.
We meet somewhere in the middle. That's exactly why we sit here at the table.
Honest mistake.
Yeah. That's exactly why we sit here at the table, because we start here, he starts here, I start here, and sometimes we meet here, but it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
So, okay, truth or lie, right? If I think the I can accept the truth easier, which is just me, right? If we have a relationship, you and I have a solid brotherhood at this point, right?
Right.
And you know your approach. I know somewhat of how to approach you with certain things. You know how to approach me with certain things. I think that's important to being able to receive the truth.
No, for sure. I agree with that 100%. I mean, it definitely has a lot to do with your relationship with that person.
Yeah.
I think actually when we talked about the N word, we talked about relationships.
Yeah, we did.
With people, and it is important to have that framework. The hard part though is if you are the person on the receiving end, do you know if those people that have that framework are right? I would like to say, do you know that they have the best intentions for you? But then at the same time, then that means that you could be a bad judge of character because you may not know that these people don't, right? I.e., Kanye West. Right. There's obviously people around them that are allowing these things to continue to happen. That's hard because then it's kind of an insult. I don't want to insult anybody, but at the same time, do you believe that these people are trying to help you or trying to hurt you? I guess that's the first question that you have to ask yourself. And I think that a lot of the times though, the people that are supposed to be the ones that support you and help you wind up being the ones that hurt you the most, not intentionally, but just out of the base of they care.
Okay.
Right. And for whatever reason, I find that when people assign care or value or whatever to something, it changes drastically, right? We know that in other aspects of life, right? Like when you drive a rental car, right? People drive the rental car all kind of crazy because it's not their car. But when it's yours, well, I'm not going that fast, taking that corner.
You can't eat in my car.
Yeah, right. It's completely different. And I feel that the same rule applies to relationships in the aspect of when people care about you and they see that you're going off the rails for whatever reason, or they see that you're making an error, they don't approach you the way that they would approach, I don't know, a coworker or someone they don't know, or it's either going to be too soft,
okay,
or way too hard.
Got it.
way too hard.
Because we have a relationship, I can just drop it.
Yes, and there's not really
the middle ground. You missed the middle
consideration,
ground.
right?
Okay.
That, I don't know if that makes sense.
I got you. So with that, I think that's the considerations you make based on the relationship, right? Based on the approach, right? Because you're assuming, okay, they just had a bad week or they just had a bad day, right? They've been going through this and that. So the way that I frame this, it may be in a different connotation because I don't want to add fuel to the fire, but I think at the end of the day, it still needs to be said. However it's said, the fact that it is said, I think that the problem comes in when it's never said.
No, for sure. But that's hard though in itself. And I guess for
How
me,
so?
Because I don't know. I think it depends on the person, right? Because it's one of those things that I think it's situational. It's very situational.
I agree with you on that.
I think that the truth has to come out at some point, but I don't think that it's necessarily always right now, right?
Got it.
Because there is, especially if you are in this relationship or this whatever, for us, for example, like with our relationship, right? We know, like, for the most part, you operate one way, I operate another way. You may not agree with how I'm doing things. I may not agree with how you're doing things, but sometimes we're going to allow the other person, well, let's see where this goes first.
Yeah, of course. Right.
And then, but some people will take it as, well, I'm just going to tell them this fucking sucks right now. And sometimes you end up killing that that creative process or that thought or whatever it is because I need to be truthful. That fucking sucked. Right. And this could have been their first, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They haven't even worked it out all the way. They haven't even thought about it all the way. They're just saying you're a trustworthy person and they're trying to get that ball rolling and you just went and like Dikembe'd it out the fucking, you know, like get that shit out of here, you know, whatever. Right. And now you killed what could have been, should have been, would have been, whatever, because you're just being honest.
Yeah.
Right. At that time.
I mean, I sometimes, all right, on both ends of the spectrum, right? Because we could, and we do this quite often, right? we talk a lot and never really come down to a solid thing, right? Answer. But we do bring a lot of things up to discuss, right? So we have a discussion.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, man, I think you could talk in circles and you can do all of these kind of things. And you can, one of the things I believe you can do is you can, the person, you can be a jerk, right? And not really have good intentions and just you having a bad day. So I'm gonna just be honest. Right. And then the other person has to either decide, okay, I'm gonna just chew the meat and spit out the bones on this, or get offended and then build a wall. It can create a whole lot of different situations where truth may be honest, it may be right, but the approach could have been so wrong that you don't even receive it.
Right.
And I mean, you relationships, right? Because I'm married, right? And so we do this all the time, right? You say things and you get out there and you and in the heat of it, you may say something that may be the God's honest truth, right? But now you're defending your territory, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you needed to hear it. It was honest, it was true, but in this moment, because I feel like I'm retreated to my corner, you back me into a corner, I'm
just lashing out.
Yeah. At this point, no. You know, and now I got to get you off my back, right?
So that being said, we're going to circle back around. But lashing out,
okay,
right? Is, some people would say, defense mechanism, possibly, right? Is lashing out a bad thing? Is lashing out a bad thing? And I question that because, right, so we as human beings, animals, whatever you want to call us, you have fight or flight, right? You have a fight or flight instinct at the bare minimum. Like when it's time to go, whatever the situation is, some people fly, some people fight, but that is a natural reaction to your framework and your triggering and your whatever. Now, if hypothetically, if you're in an argument, whatever the situation is, right, and as you're being backed into that corner, right, and it gets to the point of where you lash out and then whatever comes out. Now, there's a difference between lashing out with
malice,
purposeful and hurting. Like there's a difference in knowing
that what I'm about
you're doing versus it coming out and
getting the truth
raw, right? But people always look at that lash out as a negative thing, but that lash out for me is people are probably like, this motherfucker probably blows his stack all the time. Possibly. But that
unconfirmed.
Right? Unconfirmed. Can't confirm or deny. But that lash out should be an identifier to the person backing you into the corner that, hey, what's happening right now? We should stop. Look at this, because obviously this person feels threatened. So put my feelings aside.
So you're asking people to be rational? Is that what you're really doing?
I'm asking people to be, because I think that we villainize a lash out. Right? We villainize that there's truth that's happening and we don't address that.
And you're taking me too far.
Yes. We rather focus on the other side and go, oh my God, I can't believe you just did whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm just on a soapbox.
No, man. The question I just asked, are you really asking us to be rational? Is that what you're doing?
I mean, yeah.
To actually recognize.
Yes.
Recognize that my actions are causing you harm because you lashed out at me. And if you lashed out at me, that means I'm pushing you too far. And you're saying that I should actually recognize that.
Yes.
Back up.
Back the fuck up.
And be like, okay, maybe I went too far.
And have a real conversation.
Is that what we should do?
I feel like that's
Oh man, that sounds almost like too good to be true.
Right? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
I'm really sarcastic.
It doesn't happen.
At the end of the day, it never happens. It never happens. But it sounds excellent.
It sounds amazing.
It sounds amazing.
It sounds amazing. I'm just saying, because look, why do I always got to be the bad
guy? Right. At some point, you got to recognize on a normal day, I'm this person.
Yes.
But when we get to this point and I do this thing, are you intentionally doing it to justify why you won't change your actions? Because I believe that's part of it.
No, for
sure. When people know your triggers and know that you're in a, know what button to push, if they're not going to change their action or whatever it is, they'll push that button to justify why they don't need to change.
Oh, 100%. 100%. They definitely have to realize when it's time to change the actions.
Yeah.
Right? That being said, I'd like everybody to change their actions for who hasn't subscribed.
Right.
You
just sit here watching
this channel. Sit here watching. There's views, there's listens, but you're not clicking. Just give us just a click, one click,
one like, one comment, one subscription,
one at a time. Help us know that you like the show. Keep us on the right path. Help us grow as our own individuals.
Tell us the truth.
Tell us the truth. Don't hide it. You know, like, comment, subscribe on everything. We appreciate you guys for that. That was just my tie-in.
It was good, bro. I liked how you just,
I tried to tie it in.
We're working on that. That's good.
It's getting better. What can I say? Maybe it is, or maybe it's not. Maybe they'll be truthful and be like, that was fucking terrible.
That sucked.
That fucking sucked. Yeah. And I'd be like, you know what? You're right. It did. I still tried.
And that's all it takes.
Back up off me before you trigger me. I'm where I feel cornered. No, not really.
Okay. All right.
It is what it is. But yes, honesty is the best policy. That's what they say.
Okay. So the whole reason this conversation comes up and makes sense for something to talk about is because we generally aren't. And when did we get to the point? I remember I hated going around. I mean, I loved them, but I hated going around my older relatives when I was younger because I was fat, right? I was huge, just chunky boy. And every time I would show up, I would have an old aunt, old somebody was like, boy, you fat. What are you doing? And it was the most honest response, right? But I was like, man, you hurt my feelings. I don't want to be around you. You tell me I'm fat. I already know I'm fat. I'm in the Huskies. I already know that.
Right.
But it was honest, right? And it didn't kill me, right? It didn't destroy my self-esteem or any of those kind of things.
Subconsciously, it could have.
It could have. You're right. It could have.
Underlying trauma.
It could. But I knew at the end of the day they cared, right? Because they would be. This is the crazy thing about it is you would be like, I'm fat, but then we'd be like, hey, when we go to the store, they're gonna buy me a box of honey buns, right? And some orange drinks.
To the problem, right? You contributing to the problem,
right?
Yeah. I didn't like being around my family because I just don't like them.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a different story.
That's my honest opinion.
Gotcha.
Right. I wasn't honest enough back then. I'm honest about
but there
it.
was honestly there were reasons why you didn't want to be around them. You just didn't share those reasons.
I don't know. I just didn't like them.
Okay. Well, all right. That's it.
Hey, it is what it is. I didn't like you. If you're listening, right? If we're being honest.
But there was a reason why.
Sometimes no. Sometimes I don't even know.
What was no? Okay, I'm saying no. But there was no initial reason why, or something attached to something else that created that, how you saw them treat somebody or how you saw them operate with somebody or something?
I mean, I'm sure for some of them there was some of that.
Yeah.
For others, it's just
Y'all just didn't vibe.
The interactions were just forced.
Okay.
Right. Like, right, you know, like, oh, it's the weekend, so you need to go see.
Okay.
Whatever. Why? Why the fuck do I don't like being told what to do.
So that was it.
Because I was terrible in sports. I couldn't go to the military because I don't want to be told what to do. I like to just kind of just figure it out, you know, and go from there. I don't know. So
because you're a loner, you don't like your family?
I mean, maybe, possibly. I don't know. Some people just rub you the wrong way.
You're right.
You know,
I got you.
He's like, I just don't like this person. I don't know why.
Why don't you know why though? There has to be, okay, if that person rubs you the wrong way and you don't know why, they hadn't physically done anything to you, they hadn't said anything to you that was offensive, it's just when you get together, you don't know why. Shouldn't you try to figure that out? Because there's something in you at that point.
Yes, probably. Not worth my time.
Okay. Okay.
Look, I'd rather just be honest with myself, tell the truth. I can't. I'm not dealing with this today. And then just going about my business.
Okay.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
That's not good enough, Shepard. You need to figure that out. We're going to be honest and tell the truth, right?
Be honest and tell the truth. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to
you're not. You're lying. You're not putting no energy into that.
I'm going to tell the truth.
You're not going to put no energy into that.
Putting zero energy into that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to go on. I've made it this far. I'll make it that much further without him. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's weird because of the fact that the truth is a weird, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like, it almost shouldn't exist. It almost shouldn't exist because it's not, right? Like we talked about before, there's a lot of perception that plays into it, but then there's also a lot of just emotion, thoughts.
What you hate.
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot, right?
I got you.
And I think that when it boils down to it, I don't really want to give it, and I don't really want to receive it. And I think a lot of people end up just kind of dancing around it.
Okay, so you don't want to give it. You don't want to receive it.
I just think it should just go away. Right? Because you think, right? So here we go. Okay. If people just walk around saying the quote unquote truth, it's only a matter of time before truth is just perception. And what I mean by that is people are going to say, hey, I hate that shirt. Okay. You shouldn't wear it. Okay. And then
I don't know that that's the truth.
You know,
like I said,
if
that's
they
a perception.
believe it.
But that's a
right?
perception.
But I think that a lot of the truth is perception, you know, because I mean, if you think about whatever it may be, if it is, I don't even know where you would use for this. So you say, oh, you drink too much, man. It's fucking with you. Right? Is that truth or is that perception? If someone can drink every single day, they go to work, they pay their bills. They do what they're supposed to do.
I think it's truth in this situation is when you know the person, right? And you see that they've added this thing to their life. And since adding that thing to their life, they're starting to lose things that matter.
But who chooses if it matters?
It mattered to the person prior. So they had a good job, they had a solid family, they had, whatever, right? They had a home. And then they started, for whatever reason, they were triggered to start drinking, start smoking, start doing whatever, right? Since they started doing that, these other things began to fall all the way off. The things that did matter to them at one point.
Right.
And it's not based on how you felt about them, but how they actually felt about them.
Yeah.
What value they gave to it. Because they gave value to these other things. Now I believe it's truth to say, hey, this thing looks like maybe it has caused you pain.
So now you said maybe.
What I'm saying looks like, because I didn't want to say is, because it was something else that may have triggered it. But it seems as though with me looking here, and because I care, I'm going to offer you the truth that I see, right? And it is perception, because I am on the outside looking in. I don't know what the actual triggers are. I don't know what those things are, but I think it does come out of a care and concern that says it's not particularly mine.
Right.
I'm not sharing my opinion of it. I'm sharing what I see, and because I care, I'm gonna say, hey, this thing seems like it's screwing up your life.
Yeah, but and that is care, right? But like you said, and that's where for me it becomes a gray area, because you say the things that had value for that person before are now going away. Well, to me, it's not like, if those things had that much value, they would still hold on to that. They would still fight for that. Obviously something superseded, or at least for that person, the value or the impact that those things had on their life currently, and they're choosing to medicate, fill a void, whatever you want to call it, with this other substance, which for them is providing them what they feel that they need. So how, even though it might be like, and that's where I guess.
So you just let them finish that? You just let them go through with losing what they said was important?
And that is where the rub comes in, right? Not the kind you get at the massage parlor at 11:30 at night, where the windows are all tinted and they're open for some reason.
Okay.
But side track.
Completely.
But right, yes. And this is where maybe people will disagree with me, and whatever, I don't care. Let us know in the comments if you disagree with me. But that's the situation, right? Because if you think about like counseling, or you think about whatever, like someone has a problem.
Yep.
You're gonna go to counseling.
Yep.
Just hypothetically, right? If you yourself, the person going, are not willing to do any of the work, you can go there and sit there every single day and nothing is gonna happen, right?
Right.
It takes you, the person, saying, this is a problem. It doesn't matter. Interventions, right? It doesn't matter if you get the whole family there and say, oh, you're hurting me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing this. That doesn't work. So yeah, like, you have to let the whole world fall apart sometimes in order for that person to get that realization that fuck.
But maybe your moment of truth is that point where they realize.
I mean, it's truth for you, but it's not truth for them.
But I'm saying, what if that is the pivot point, because they hadn't seen it and it wasn't anything that they were recognizing, right? And they were fine and they were on this downhill thing. But you said, okay, today's the day where I'm just gonna tell them the truth. I'm gonna say this thing that I hadn't been wanting to say. And I'm saying, hey, dude, you are screwing up. And that's the thing that the light bulb comes on and said, well, maybe I am.
And then I think, again, then it falls back in under the realm of situational in a lot of ways, because not everybody responds to that, right? And it's hard to gauge where someone is at in that spiral.
Yeah.
Especially if they're at the very beginning of it, they don't want to hear shit you have to say.
Yeah, I got you.
So I feel like that makes it more difficult, and then that also affects the truth, Because if you're quote unquote intervention, you're coming to say, I'm going to tell the truth. If it's shut down at this point and it's shut down the second point, a lot of people just say, fuck it. And then now they think it, but they're not telling them. So then it's just hard. I think that people always, the truth, and that's where I say, like, the truth doesn't always have to be told, right? Because there's always a variance. There's always a, well, yeah, I told it. It doesn't matter. I told them again. It doesn't matter.
I think
they give up. They're now they are not telling the truth. But if they believe in telling the truth, they would stick at it and say, hey, but then they stop because they say, well, I'm not getting anywhere.
Well, I mean, I don't know that that's not. It's not that you didn't tell the truth. It's just seeing that your efforts aren't getting anywhere. That still doesn't.
But if you choose to interact with the situation, and that's what I'm saying, right? That's how we talked about earlier.
So you're saying when you lock in all the way and tell the truth the whole way through,
and tell it the whole way through, right? Because like when we talked about earlier, when you're having the conversation, and we say when you ask somebody, they know more of the story, but they're not giving it, right? Are they lying? If someone asks you, hey, what happened? And you omit things. I mean, you tell them what happened, but you didn't tell them everything.
You ain't telling them the whole story.
Is that the full truth? Is that like all those things you said did happen?
Because you're not going to tell the other person's side of the story anyway,
right?
Not truthfully.
Right. But the same situation, right? If you're seeing this and then you just stop, but you still continue to interact with that person, you're not giving them the truth. You gave them the truth 2 weeks ago, but you're not giving them the truth today. Especially if you're thinking, God, this man's fucking up, but you're not saying it anymore, then you're not giving how you truly feel.
I guess though, because if you're the person that continues to hear that, right, you're the person. Somebody's giving the truth consistently, and you're the person that's hearing it on a consistent basis. Eventually, you're gonna shut down to what they're saying anyway, and it's not gonna matter, right?
Exactly.
But I mean, so then the other person saying it, if they care, recognizes that and realizes that me saying this is just pushing them further down the hill. And maybe this isn't the right time for that level of truth at the moment. I have said it, so it'll never be said, I guess, at the end of the day that I didn't care or didn't try to.
Or maybe your truth is the catalyst of the problem.
How so?
If you care about somebody, right? Most people don't want to let down people that they care about.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And when you recognize that you are hurting someone that you care about, you tend to reflect and think on that. And if you're already in a not great place, that becomes an additional stressor, which leads you to continue to do the same thing that you're doing.
I got it.
And then the more that you hear that you're a failure.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the New York subway tunnels. Because, I mean, we hit this one and then we're going that way, and there's so many different levels to this, right?
There's a lot.
There's a lot of it.
There's a lot.
Because, like you said, each one of them could trigger another set of thoughts and ideas and questions along the way. And for me, I think at the base of it, right, we're saying to tell the truth or not. We started with why don't we tell the truth, right? I think it's important that we do tell the truth.
Maybe.
I think it's important that we do,
maybe.
Along with having a level of wisdom and temperance concerning how you approach it, right? Because you said maybe. I believe that's important because there are some times where the truth does not help, or your voicing it does not help, right? Sometimes you just have to work through the problem or work through the situation in a different way. And the fact that you say, I told you so, or something like that is definitely going to derail the whole situation. You have to have wisdom enough to know that this is not the right time or place for that. But know within, if you know the truth and your operation works towards that, okay, I know that I can say, I know that this person is having an issue and the alcohol is causing a problem. And we used to go to hang out at happy hour. So now let's meet at the coffee shop.
But now you're not being true to yourself because you just want that.
But no, it's
Jack
okay.
on the rocks.
Right? But if I know the truth, but me saying that is going to not, then for me, my approach then is let me change what I believe is causing part of the problem.
So now you gotta change yourself for somebody else.
Oh, there
right?
you go.
Now we're going down a whole nother.
You just being you today. You're not gonna say yes to anything.
We are challenging the norm, right? That's what we're here to do. Challenge the norm. I don't know, man. I think the truth is just a very weird thing. I do agree.
Do you want it or not? Do you want me to tell you the truth that I see or no?
Maybe. Yeah. I would. Yeah. I mean, I want you to tell me the truth of what you see. Do I want everybody to tell me the truth?
Of course not.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you don't. Your truth is based upon situations you might not know.
Yeah, of course.
So, I guess ultimately that's what it boils down to for me. Right? Back to the relationships and everything else. Is what is your relationship with that truth? If you don't have that relationship, right? Shut the fuck up because you don't know.
But what's good about that is I'm seeing because if I share a truth with you based on what I see, because we have a solid relationship, you can say, well, no, it's actually this. And that's not the trigger. That's not the issue. That's not the whatever.
Right,
because
right.
Now you can clarify and the truth, which I thought was right, is actually something completely different. But I think what happens is you'll share that and then somebody will say, they're in their own thoughts, they don't know me, that ain't it, and not respond. So the person's locked into this thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think that honesty's needed both ways in order for the issue to resolve itself correctly. I think you have to share with it and say no. And then this person who's, I'm going back and forth, right? The person who, all right, you share the truth.
Yes.
The person who received the truth said, no, that's not it. This person over here has to be willing to accept the response back and say, okay, well, I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? It has to be able to go both ways.
Right.
That truth has to be able to go both ways.
But then, oh man, this is the rabbit hole. Because when you tell that person the truth and they give you that response, that person's response is their perception of what they feel is the truth, and they still could be wrong.
Well, then we both wrong. Then.
So then we just got two wrong.
We all wrong, but we said it. We cared enough to say it. Doggone it. We all cared enough to say it, and we because we have relationship, because we have friendship, because we have brotherhood, because we have whatever connection you have with that person. Because you cared enough, you said something, whether it was right or wrong in the wrong situation. Hopefully you'll use wisdom in that conversation so that, you can gauge whether it's making sense or not.
So you can handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Exactly. Oh man. I think let's just leave it there. I don't even know what to I'm so lost in this. I'm lost in the truth.
We're in a rabbit hole for real. Yeah. Oh. Y'all help us out. Help us clarify.
Please let us know
what we just talked about.
I'd appreciate it.
Because we need it.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We appreciate you listening for sure. But we need your help.
Yeah, we need your help. We need you to like, comment, and subscribe so that we can continue to make great content for you guys.
Yeah, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe.
And it's right here on the screen. Everything you need.
Right there. Thank you so much, guys, for listening.
All right, take care.